Welcome to Journeys. This is a space for raw, honest conversations about the stories that shape us. Today I'm joined by Sarah, and we're going to be exploring her journey from becoming a mother to answering the call to become a doula too. So Sarah, I'd love to bring you right back to the beginning. If you can, could you take me right back to when you first became a mother?
Yes. Well, I'd say my motherhood journey definitely began when I got pregnant, because that's when things started to change for me a little bit. You know, I was absolutely terrified of giving birth my whole life. I was like, if you had asked me what my biggest fear was, it was giving birth.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And
is there something that instilled that fear in you?
I think looking back, it was other people's experiences and also maybe a lack of trust in myself, because my mom had really lovely experiences both times and always told me that. So it wasn't like that was passed down or anything, you know. But yeah, I was so afraid. And like my partner, you know, I knew I wanted to have kids, but it was, I kept putting it off because I thought I'm not ready and I can't do that. It's just, I was like, I can't do this.
It's this impossible thing.
Yeah. And eventually, anyway, my partner was like, if you wait till you're ready, you're never going to be ready. That's actually one thing he said that stuck with me. And I was like, that's so true. Like, and so when I got pregnant, then I started doing a lot of birth prep because, and I don't know how it kind of clicked with me either. Like, why did I start? But I think I just said to myself, I can't go through this with this fear.
Yeah.
And then by the time it came like to a couple of months pregnant, I was like deep in the birth world. I found doulas and I was like, hey, like this is going to be okay. Like,
yeah.
And all the information, I was like, I started trusting myself. And even my partner was like, sure, told you, like, you know, your body's built for this. Like, and yeah, so I really couldn't wait then to give birth, and I couldn't believe the change in myself in the couple of months. Like, but it really just gave me like learning about my body, and I did a course with you when I was pregnant with my first, and all of that just really helped me trust myself. Like, and I couldn't wait to give birth.
That's amazing. Like, that's such a shift from like not wanting to get pregnant because of this massive fear that's standing in front of you to now being like, I can't wait to do this.
Yeah. And like, I thought I was prepared the first time, you know, but I could have done an awful lot more, but it ended like I had a lovely pregnancy and a lovely birth. My first daughter was actually 9 weeks premature.
Okay.
So I say it was a lovely birth because it was. You know, I went into the hospital quite late, so you know, I should have been transferred to another hospital. But I had a lovely birth. It was really everything I wanted it to be. It was everything I had prepared for. Like, it was a totally physiological experience. I was really listened to and respected. You know, they gave me a vagina exam, obviously, to find out if I was actually in labour. And I was 7 centimeters, but I really didn't enjoy that. And my midwife said when they wanted to do another one, the midwife said she didn't enjoy that. I think you should leave her alone.
Okay, amazing.
And I remember being like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because as much as I had planned for my birth, you know, I wasn't ready for the advocating. I hadn't planned for that. In my head, it was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be supported. And thankfully, I was. And, you know, the room was dim and it was a really beautiful birth. What came afterwards was quite difficult. Like, at the time, I just kind of floated through it, you know. But yes, you know, being separated from your baby is hard, and I only realized that looking back, how difficult that was. And lonely, you know. You're not with your baby, it's lonely, like. But she, you know, she was really, really good for being 9 weeks premature. She was a strong little thing, like. So she only spent 2.5 weeks in the NICU.
Okay.
And then we were transferred back down to Dublin, or to Wexford. for another 2.5 weeks. So, you know, she was out before her due date and everything. But yeah, it was hard becoming a mother not with your baby, like, you know, not being able to physically hold her all the time. Very hard. But at the time I thought, oh, this is kind of a nice introduction. That's what I was kind of thinking at the time, was like, I'm kind of being eased into this here because I can't bring her home. I can't feed her all the time, you know. But like, I remember them telling me, oh, you can change your nappy, and going, oh my God, like, I can change your nappy. That's making me feel like a mommy, you know? Yeah. And like, then I'm thinking, this is my baby though, and they're like letting me, you know. It's so, I don't know, it was lovely at the time. Looking back, it's like, God, that was so hard. And I remember I have a picture of the first time they put her on my chest, and I'm like, I don't know if I looked terrified or delighted. I was kind of like, oh my God. Like, it was like over 24 hours later after giving birth, because they transferred her without me. So I didn't actually see her for 24 hours.
And did she go to Dublin?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was still in Wexford.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of like, I remember the first sniff of her head though. Like, I still remember that. And remember just thinking to myself, oh, she's not tiny. You know, I was expecting to be scared by, you know, maybe scared is the wrong word, but a little bit worried by what she was going to look like when she came out, because she was so early. And I remember thinking like, oh, she doesn't look scary. Yeah. And she looks really big. Oh, yeah. And like, she's not like this tiny little thing that I was afraid of. And just sniffing her head, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I wasn't expecting that. That first sniff, oh my God, I'll never forget it. It hit me, and I still remember that moment, like on both of them, you know, but especially with Robin, I think because we were separated. But like the first, I was like, oh my God, the smell. And then she was gone. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, but I was like, I kept that smell with me, you know. Yeah. When we were separated.
Yeah. And like, I really like what you said about, you felt as if it was almost an easing into motherhood. Yeah. Because, you know, when you're separated from your baby, especially if you're in 2 different counties now as well, like that's in itself so hard. Yeah. So to have that kind of thought process is huge.
Yeah. And a part of me thought, like, why am I thinking like this? You know, why am I thinking that this is good? But I suppose I'm quite a positive person anyway. So, and we got a B&B like next door to the hospital. So I was literally like in and out, you know, go and spend the day with her, and then I'd go home. I'd be up pumping all night, like, and I felt like probably as tired as I would if she was with me. And then, you know, it was just, yeah, I did feel like, I remember writing that down somewhere, that I feel like I'm being eased in here, like a gentle beginning.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to think about it. Yeah. And it's a really nice way, I suppose, to keep yourself in that positive mindset too, because it, like, you can spiral so quickly in a situation like that.
Yeah. Like the nurses and everything were amazing. Like, it was a really positive experience, because I think there was no major issues with her. You know, just she needed that little bit of extra support for a short space of time. But I think because there wasn't a huge worry about her health, it was more just, we need to just get her home now. Yeah. And so I felt positive about the whole situation, you know. And I think because I had such a good birth. Yeah. Like, I was buzzing. Yeah. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted, and I feel fucking amazing. Like,
yeah. And it makes such a difference. Yeah. It really does. And when you did finally get to bring her home then, how did that feel?
Oh my God, it was like, I don't want to see anybody else. Really? I just couldn't wait to have her home on my own. Because, like, you're busy when you're going in and out of the hospital. It's like you're seeing people and you're talking, you know, and I couldn't just wait to bring her home and shut out the world and just have that baby bubble. And it was COVID. So it was literally like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
my world.
Yeah.
You know,
So you didn't find it like hard to keep people away, or was it a bit of a challenge?
No, I had my mum and dad, obviously, 'cause they're like my best friends. But yeah, I didn't find it hard to keep people away.
Yeah.
And we just had that. It was lovely. And like we were off for quite a long space of time at that when we brought her home. So yeah, it was really nice. It was like, finally, we're home and this is my baby and I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to think, because at the time I was self-employed. I was running a cafe.
Okay.
And that had closed the day after I gave birth to Robin with lockdown. So I woke up like that next day, and my mom went in to tell the girls that I had given birth. And then the following day it was like lockdown, everything was closed. And it was like,
I was just about to say that must have been another shock to the system.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, this couldn't actually come at better timing for me.
Amazing, yeah.
because I didn't have to stress about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to leave because it was like so early. I hadn't prepared for my absence in work properly. You know, I had great staff. But mentally and, you know, all the official things, I hadn't prepared for that. So it worked out.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost like, you know, these things happened that were really unexpected for you, but it was almost as if the universe was yeah, but here you go.
Yeah.
Here's a little gift to help you with this next part.
Yeah. Totally all aligned for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like, you know, a lot of us would spiral when those kinds of things happened. And like, I just love your mindset. All that positivity. It's amazing.
I know. It can be a killer sometimes.
I don't know, because I think I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening, and it's all building up and blah, blah, blah. But I love that.
Yeah, I definitely, like, further on in life, the positivity definitely was harder to keep going. Or the body holds the score, as they say. So that definitely did catch up with me. But.
Okay. And in terms of your experience after birth, or?
Yeah, birth and life, in general, I would say carrying the load, the mother load, definitely caught up with me.
It does.
After second pregnancy and then following on, it was a harder experience.
And if we go back to the first pregnancy, the first birth, and that whole period, is there anything that stands out to the most to you from your experience?
The smell. the midwife. I always think of her in that birthing experience. I always think of how listened to I was, and that really instilled that transition from fear to kind of empowerment. That really helped me, and knowing that she was kind of in tune with me, that really sticks with me, like being listened to without even having to say anything, really, you know.
It does. It stays with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because it's such a vulnerable time. Yeah. You know, and how you're treated and how you're spoken to is so important. Yeah. How do you feel then that your transition into motherhood for the first time, how do you feel that shaped you?
Oh, well, I always say my first birth changed me totally. And my second birth saved me. Yeah, it changed me. It changed, like, I always think, I don't know what I cared about before.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously cared about stuff, and I had opinions on stuff, and I was able to speak my mind and all, but did I actually really care about anything before that? You know, I think becoming a mother and having that empowering experience and changing my mindset, it totally changed who I was. Like, I stood for different things, and I was so much more confident in what I wanted in my life. You know, it really totally changed me, you know, for the good. Like, you know, I lived the past. I lived well. But I totally changed after giving birth. and I love this version of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I definitely, yeah, it was such a change in me mentally, maybe. Yeah, like I don't think I cared about the stuff.
Yeah,
as much.
At the time, and I know every day we're transitioning and every day we're changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But stepping into motherhood is such a massive transition. Yeah. And did you find that hard going through?
At the time, I didn't find it hard. Looking back, I think it was. Being in the NICU, being a NICU parent is hard. It's so hard. And I found, especially when we were in the NICU, there was a lot of communication, like with nurses and doctors. So I felt really protected and supported. And then, you know, when they start getting better and she got transferred down, I felt like the communication started to lack a bit. And then I started to doubt myself a bit more. That, like, am I doing the right thing here? Like, should I be doing this? Can I pick her up now? You know, whereas it was so much communication and support to a lot less.
Yeah.
Then I did start to doubt myself.
Yeah. Going through those kind of experiences as well, it's really like having professional support is so amazing. But sometimes we really need that peer support and to chat to people who we can relate to and who understand. And do you feel like you had that?
No.
Okay.
No. A couple of people did reach out to me, which was really nice. Girls that had children in the NICU, like from locally, like, we know what you're going through. I think 2 girls actually texted me, if you need anything, let me know. And I remember thinking, like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I didn't reach back.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, looking back, I probably should have. But at the time, I was like, I can't. You know, your phone is hopping and everyone's texting you. And I was like, I can't talk to anybody.
Yeah. And it's really hard. Like, it's so lovely when someone says, if there's anything I can do. Yeah. And there's a million and one things that someone can do, but actually voicing that to someone is the hardest part.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. It's the whole asking for help.
Yeah. How did you mentioned your second experience being the one that healed you?
Yeah.
So if we touch on that a little bit, how do you feel your second experience of pregnancy, birth, motherhood, that in comparison to the first?
Yeah. Second time round was definitely a harder experience personally because my partner struggled with addiction.
Okay.
And through that pregnancy and birth kind of was the worst part of it. So it was a very heavy time for me, you know, at home. I was just basically doing it alone, like, you know, and, you know, he was always a great father when he was good, you know. But yeah, and then it kind of made me realize how bad things had gotten. And so it was, I just describe it as dark and lonely because the same thing again, I didn't reach out, and I have fabulous support. My parents are amazing. My family is amazing. I have amazing friends, but I wasn't honest with how bad things were, and that I needed to talk.
Yeah.
And I just kept it in, you know, and that was really hard. Now, thankfully, I have to say he went through treatment and he's in recovery now, which is amazing, you know, and it's a life that we never expected to have, really. So it's like looking back again, you know, it's like here we are now with this, like, a life beyond our wildest dreams, you know, going to run a half marathon together at the weekend. I'm not doing the half marathon. Yes. But, you know, the looking back now, it's thinking like, Jesus, I was so carrying that load of trying to keep my family together, keep him in our life, and help him, help my children, help myself, you know.
And then where do you come in?
Oh, yeah. And it was after, now I had, again, done all the birth prep. I was so ready for that. And then in the hospital, I had a lovely day at home. Woke up, couldn't wait to give birth. It's like, I'm in labour. fantastic. I'm going to have the best day. And
I love that.
And I did. Like, I had such a good day. I really was like, this is my day. Like,
Yeah.
And had a really good experience. We went into the hospital then, and I was like, the baby's coming. Like, I've been labouring at home all day, baby's coming. And I wasn't listened to.
Okay.
And I wasn't respected. And that then, you know, it made me mad because I had to consent to a vaginal exam that I didn't want because I needed gas and air.
Right.
And
they were refusing the gas and air without fat. Okay.
Yeah, because you're not in labour, like we don't know how far along. And I was like, the baby's coming. I can feel the head. Like, I couldn't sit in the car. You know, I don't even know if I was saying those words though. You know, I think
you shouldn't have to.
Exactly. I don't know if I actually spoke or if I just said no.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually explained myself because, like, you know,
there's
a lot going on. But yeah, that made me mad then. You know, I didn't feel listened to and respected, and all of the other shit that was going on then in my life, I was like, shit. But look, I did have a nice experience, but it wasn't as empowering as my first because of the lack of care, listening to, respect of my decisions. Like, and I mean, Amber was born 45 minutes after I got to the hospital. Like, she was actually coming. Like, I wasn't making it up. Like, that day, I always say that was the day I said I was sitting there with Amber on my chest, and I said, I'm going to be doula. Like, I had thought about it with Robin. You know, I was like, geez, if I can change my mind, then if I could help other people change their minds, they're going to like have these amazing experiences. And yeah, with Amber on my chest, and they just eventually just left me alone because I was like, no, no, thank you. And they just left me alone with Amber on my chest, and I was like, that day I decided I'm going to be doula, and I decided I was going to leave my partner, because he needed to get better. And I did both. And both are working out quite well. You know, he went and got treatment. He went into treatment, you know, he had. And
what a day to decide that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, although your experience wasn't as empowering, you still felt empowered enough to say, I am done with this shit.
Yeah. It was like, that wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know, that experience wasn't good enough for both, you know, and I can't do this anymore. And I'm going to help other people not have that experience.
Yeah.
And he needs to help himself.
Yeah.
You know?
And was he there with you for
for a little a little while.
Okay.
He wasn't there after he left, but but sure, he was done good, like, you know, he wouldn't have been able to speak for me.
Yeah.
And I think even now, you know, would he be comfortable? That's what I think a lot of partners, I don't think some of them are comfortable with speaking for their partner.
It's
hard.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of pressure to put on the partner. That's why I love working with couples and being like, you know, I can help you here. You know, it's not all on you to do this for her, you know.
But like I say to all my clients, I nearly work more with the partners than I do with the woman who's in labour.
Yeah.
And it's intense.
Yeah.
And there's all these medical professionals with all these opinions and advice and solutions, and like, a partner's job is to fix.
Yeah.
You know?
Protect.
So, the moment then as well where you thought, this really matters to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely, like I said, during my pregnancy with Robin, my first one, I couldn't believe how I changed my own mind. And I was like, if I can help people do this, like, I can so do this. And that kind of planted the seed. And then Amber's birth was like, that seed was like
already budding.
Yeah. Like watered and fertilized. All of the things. And then with in my postpartum journey then was quite heavy, obviously, with Amber. And I remember thinking, if I had a doula coming into my house, I might have told her.
And
how
had you still
hard-
not told anyone what was going on?
Not really. No, I
Okay.
told my mum and dad, obviously, when I did, we moved in with them, like, for a while. And I had told them.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a while to tell them the full extent of how lonely I had been.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and carrying it all. And I remember the first time telling, like, my friend how bad it was. And I was like, geez, the relief.
Yeah,
Like,
just telling it.
Yeah.
And you, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you feel like you didn't tell anyone because you were denying it to yourself?
Oh,
that
yeah.
it was so heavy?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like saying it out loud makes it real.
Yeah.
Makes it like, this is really real.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I remember I used to be like, not afraid, but not wanting to go out on my own with the two kids because people would know then that I was always on my own. Like,
Yeah. But that's so hard.
so hard. Like, looking back, you know, it's all about looking back now, thankfully. But yeah, it was hard. And I always think if I had a doula that was coming into me, you know, or even it would have been that outside support that I probably would have confided in and felt more supported. And it's not that my family didn't support me, you know, it was me. I didn't tell people that.
Yeah.
Because it was like that hard asking for help. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when it's family and friends and you do tell them and you tell them how you're feeling, they love you so much that again, they want to fix it.
Yeah.
They want to help you.
Yeah.
Whereas a doula will come in and sit there and hold space for you to just get it all out so that you can lift that weight, you can feel lighter without feeling like this person's going to want to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, it has made me strong, but I think I've always been strong. But I think there was a time there for a while that I hated how strong I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to be the strong person here.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this. But now, like, I see how it has made me so grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love supporting people.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I'm grateful for our experiences in life so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's been such a beautiful journey, and now we're like as a family healing together, and it just feels lovely.
Yeah. Or how do you feel your experiences have shaped you as a doula and birth worker?
Yeah, I definitely, that calm in the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't realize how beneficial that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that grounded person, while someone is, you know, in the throes of it, being that root of support is definitely the most beneficial thing about being and having a doula, I think. Yeah. And then, you know, my experiences helping the partners, and, you know, it's yeah, I didn't realize how useful I could be to people, you know. But definitely that the grounded person, and like, I used to not like that about myself. Yeah, you know, that I was the strong one in the room.
It's hard being
not
strong.
But you know, it is that calm, grounded presence. I didn't realize, and like, how good I was at that. From motherhood, it's definitely easier to tune in to the mothers now, being one myself. I find
like your whole experience transitioning into parenthood shapes you as a person. And then when you make that decision to become a birth worker, your experience shapes what you bring into how you support people.
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, you can kind of read between the lines a bit more, having had experiences, and, you know, especially postpartum. You know, it's tuning into mother's needs because you've been there, you know.
I guess, like, there's so much that you bring into your support as a doula. Like, you've been the NICU mom. You've been the mom who's had to bring her baby home from NICU. The mom who's been surprised, although you were like, yes, I'm in labor. Like it's still a shock to the system that you're in labor at 31 weeks. The being in a different county to your baby, the going through addiction with your partner, and addiction is so big at the moment, you know. So
it's huge.
like you're bringing all of that experience in, and like that's such an amazing level of support that you're bringing into your clients. So like we're very lucky to have you. What has this whole journey from mother to doula taught you about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty cool.
I think so too.
Yeah, I really like myself.
Good.
Yeah, I do. And I like my awareness of other people's experience now. You know, I think before I was just like, this is my life. You know, and I am said a bit like that. This is my life, my family, and you know, this is what's important. But yeah, I think being aware of other people's experiences have definitely softened that way. And yeah, just I'm happy of the person I've become. Yeah. From where I was, you know, I was a bit of a party girl, like.
Oh, weren't we all?
And like I say, I love the wellness world at the moment, but I just think some of the language is a bit like
toxic.
Yeah. Like it's like, oh, I don't have to fucking download everything. You know what I mean? Like, and I love that, you know, just tuning into yourself and what's around you, and you know, having a bit of empathy towards other people's experiences. Yeah.
Just being real.
Yeah, being real. And not being shy about that.
Yeah.
I'm not shoving my opinions in anybody's face.
No, but you're being your authentic self.
Yeah.
And that's so important, especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now, because I feel like we've lost that some level of authenticity. If I'm saying, find people who are truly authentic.
Yeah. And it's hard to be truly authentic sometimes.
It is.
Yeah. Because you're going, oh, if I do that now, is someone going to be like, what does she think she is?
Yeah.
But I think I'm cool.
Yeah,
it's
I think
nice to kind of sometimes go, Joe, I don't give a fuck what they think.
Yeah.
Anybody else thinks.
Oh my God. And you know what? I turned 40 this week, and
happy birthday!
Thanks. But like the last few years have been a lot of me like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And now I know it was only a couple of days ago, but I feel like I give less fucks. So if this continues, I'm just got I don't know how I'm going to be.
Yeah.
But it feels good. It's liberating.
Yeah.
To know.
And I think doing my training as a doula was a big thing for me to really step into being just me.
Yeah.
Because like that was definitely the first thing I've done. The first thing I did for myself to be really me was prepare for my birth.
Yeah.
And that made me feel so good that it gave me the boost to do what I wanted to do. And I definitely want to be a doula and to be supporting people. So that felt so right. Like,
yeah, it's lovely when it falls into place.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah. And before we finish up, I just want you to let people, whoever's watching, the listeners, whatever, let them know where to find you.
So on Instagram, really, that's the only place. Birth to Rise, Sarah is my Instagram tag.
Yeah. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story. And I'm sure lots of people are going to be able to relate. And thanks for being so vulnerable as well.
Thank you.
You're amazing.